Well, for much of that innings, the result was never really in doubt. It was just a matter of how many. By how many runs would Chennai register their first victory of the season? Again, for the longest time, we thought it would be 50, 60 runs maybe, but the lower order showing some grit, showing some resistance, and actually posting what in isolation would be an excellent total, already about 40 or 50 more than we thought would be made in the first place on this surface. 193 for 9, chasing 217 final total for Bangalore. Top score of 41 of 27 for Shahbaz Ahmed, unlikely, and Dinesh Karthik getting out for the first time in the tournament. Well, here we are on Cricbuzz Live at the end of the day where we've finally seen 0-4 becoming 1-4. Another 24 hours time, we're going to talk about another team who are hoping to make it 1-4. For now on Cricbuzz Live, Harsha and Simon join me. First thing you noticed from Ravindra Jadeja when he took that catch there, no matter what the celebration, it was relief. You could not define relief better in a celebration.
Yeah, spot on. We were just sort of talking about it off air a little bit, weren't we? And there is relief. First win as captain. You're searching for it. I mean, things aren't going your way. You will feel that. Let's hope that just gives him that little bit more confidence move into the next one. I thought he marshaled his troops quite well tonight. We thought the surface, or we were under the illusion, the impression from the early reports that the surface was going to be quite a tough one. I think in the end, is it fair to say that the scoreline probably flattered Bangalore a little bit at the back end, courtesy of some wonderful hitting. I mean, Maxwell kicked things off, didn't go deep enough, but then Shahbaz and DK in particular with Prabhu Desai. So it probably flattered them a touch in the end. But I think, there'll be a relieved bunch when we visit them at breakfast in the morning, Harsha.
Absolutely. I mean, you look down those cards, there's so much to enjoy in today's game. Shivam Dube, so many skeptics around, finding those long levers, he gets it away. Robin Uthappa, ageless. And then on a scorecard, in a T20 game where 216 was made, you get a score of 17 of 16 balls. It just tells you how much two people dominated it. Then a Sri Lankan, remember there were protests at some point when a Sri Lankan was picked to play for Chennai. It just tells you, leave politics aside completely. A Sri Lankan wins the game for Chennai Super Kings with the ball. Maxwell, Dinesh Karthik, how good was that last boundary from Siraj? Oh, he is going to go back and tell all the batsmen what he did. But my moment, it was just so far. How old is Ambati Rayudu? Does he have any business flying like that to take that catch? Wow, what a day. It's been, if you like T20 cricket and you come to watch, you got everything today. Except Virat Kohli not scoring runs, which is a larger problem.
But yeah, I think the moments that Harsha just mentioned there would all be, the 2 points right at the top, but then all these other little moments added together would sort of inject CSK with that confidence even more than just the 2 points.
Yeah, what game was it? Was it game 2 when Ambati Rayudu dropped that absolute sitter at short third man? Was it game number 2
short
for
third.
Chennai? Short third man. And it was, so you throw that one and the one he took tonight together and you think, isn't this just a stupid game? Why did we watch? We watch this game for those very reasons, because things like that can happen. Nobody means to drop a catch. Nobody means to do any of that sort of stuff, but stupid stuff can happen in this amazing game that we love, and then he goes out tonight and just rips off one of the blinders. Every night almost it seems like we're seeing a new contender for the best catch of this year's IPL. And I just wish they'd have a sort of a category for the best catch between 20 and 25-year-olds, the best catch between 25 and 30-year-olds, and the best catch maybe over 30-year-olds or something like that. I don't know. Do we need something like that?
Maybe in this case, over 35s.
Correct.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, MS Dhoni and Ambati Rayudu, both of them would be competing in there. Both very much part of the winning side there. Just to stay on Jadeja a little bit, Harsha. Monkey off the back is one thing. You already see him looking a different person. He picked up wickets, took that catch, was very calm about it. And I'm fairly certain when he comes out in his next game in a few days' time, it'll be a different captain.
We hope so. Because, look, he's never captained before. I think he's captained once at under-19 level. So he's learning as he goes along. So he'll probably sleep well tonight. Unless the buzz keeps him awake all night. But in a manner of speaking, will sleep well tonight. He should. So I'd love to see where he goes. I'd love to see whether this is just a little fleeting yellow glow in the sky, or whether there's a sunrise happening at the moment. Sunrisers, no, Chennai. But whether that is happening, it'll be interesting to see. But at least there's now renewed interest. Chennai are not sort of going away anywhere. So, and if Mumbai can win tomorrow, I mean, I have no disrespect for the team they're playing against, or Punjab Kings. But if Mumbai can win tomorrow, it'll just get this tournament up and going again.
And one of the things, Dooley, we had discussed early on was that when you compared the 0-4 for Chennai and the 0-4 for Mumbai, Mumbai actually had closer games. They were very much in contention for definitely 3 out of their 4 games. Chennai probably had not been convincing enough. And this is not just the 2 points, but they've looked convincing. They've looked the side who can now bounce back and do 4 in a row.
Yeah, they were well and truly beaten in 2 of those 4 games, and the other 2 were a little bit closer. But the thing for me is, I mean, we said it earlier, didn't we? The fact when these surfaces just start to slow, there's no reason why a Chennai side can't win 6 of their last 7 as these pitches just start to slow a little bit and just start to turn a little bit more. They've got a side with 3 world-class spin options if they want to use all 3 of them, and it's a sort of it's just one of those things where you never ever count them out. You can never count Mumbai out. The things that they've done in the past, you can't count them out. But they just don't. I just don't know whether they look like they've got the side or the mix of players in their side to do it. With Shivam Dube playing the way he's playing, with a renewed Robbie Uthappa, we still haven't seen the best of Jadu with the bat yet. We haven't seen Ruturaj with the bat yet. So they've got there's potential. There's now potential with maybe that win just sparking a little bit of something. The pitch is just starting to dry up perhaps a touch. The tosses will be quite crucial, I think, for them in some ways. If they can win the toss and bowl first a little bit more on some of these drier surfaces, then, it brings them right back into it.
And as in previews, Harsha, we've been going on a lot about Deepak Chahar, and we know that he's not going to play any further part in all likelihood in the tournament. So if you take out Deepak Chahar, Faf du Plessis, no performance from Gaikwad yet, it's therefore another group of people who are coming together, led today, we've already talked a lot about Uthappa and Dube, by Mahesh Theekshana. And if he, in this later half of the tournament, can start delivering, then he starts looking lethal.
And it's very rare that an overseas spinner commands a place in a side. I think 2 years ago, 2019, did Dhoni use Imran Tahir regularly? Might have been 18 or 19, one of those places. But an overseas pure spinner, a spinner who doesn't bat, to hold a place in an IPL is very, very rare. But what he is doing is giving you a power play option, which allows you to have Bravo Jordan available at the back end, which I think was crucial. I think 4 for 33 was a contender. Look, Shivam Dube was just so dramatic that Shivam Dube has to get player of the match. But most days in a 216-run defense, if you've got 4 for 33, I mean, you're not looking too much beyond for a player of the tournament. And each time the chase was threatening to go away, he produced the wicket. So, I mean, the spinners have got 7 for 72 today, but Theekshana is made a very strong claim to be a permanent member of the side.
Dooley, at the start of the game, the toss result. Bangalore won the toss. They're bowling first. And someone tells you at the end of the game, a Sri Lankan spinner will have taken 4 for 33. What likelihood of the poll, it being Theekshana or Hasaranga?
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. Hasaranga would have been probably 72%. You would think, a bit more than that, possibly, with bowling first and maybe the dew being a factor as well. But I think I said it. Maybe it was on the show a couple of games ago that I just feel that with dew, the wrist spinners are more likely, and Theekshana is more of a wrist spinner than he is a genuine finger spinner. The wrist spinners just grip the ball with a couple more fingers at times, and because he's got these ones, he's just gripping the ball with a little bit more control, whereas a finger spinner in those 2 only just might lose a little more control from a left arm and a right arm point of view. So, maybe they have a little bit more of an advantage if the ball is slightly wet. But I was really impressed, and you feel that as the tournament goes on, as the weather gets hotter, and as the surfaces start to wear, he is just going to have more and more a part to play.
And by the way, this was the match where after 10 overs, what was Chennai's score? 60. Could anybody have predicted where this game was going from there? 10 over 60, you're thinking, right, 0-4 is slowly nudging 0-5. Who would have thought the game would go where it did from there? And I'll tell you this T20, a lot of people think T20 is just go and bash. T20 has its ebbs and flows as well. And we saw that today. The other good thing we're seeing is because of the shorter duration of the game and because you need to stay fit for, say, maybe half an hour, 40 minutes when you're batting, or just 80 odd minutes in the field and you can be inside the circle, the older people who've got a great understanding of the game, who know how to play specific moments, they're getting a great opportunity to keep playing. Today you saw Robin Uthappa. I mean, he's been an orange cap holder. He knows exactly what to do. Sometimes the body doesn't allow you to, but because he has to play that kind of role, he's doing it. Ambati Rayudu is in. It's giving so many people a second lease of life that it's interesting to see how that experience is residing very nicely with fearless youth. 88 or 50, Robin Uthappa.
And both getting their highest respective scores in the tournament. Just in case you think 88 or 50 was the best batting performance of the day, it wasn't. He was upstaged by young Shivam Dube.
Yeah, but it was outstanding, wasn't it? I mean, you look at where they were, and obviously losing Ruturaj again early, and that partnership coming together. They've given Dube a real responsibility, and they know what Robin can do. And I think that's the one thing. And we said it earlier as well. Robin is just in a great space in his life at the moment, and that is transforming into how he's playing his cricket, how he's enjoying his cricket. And you've got this guy who, for probably, I don't know, how many years have we been talking about Shivam Dube as a talent? 3, 4, 5 years? You know, I mean, it's got to be 4 or 5 years, doesn't it, almost, that Shivam Dube has been talked about as a talent, as a guy who can certainly bat and bowl. You know, we haven't seen a lot of his bowling. We haven't seen enough of it. I think he's more of a batsman who can offer you an over or two. But we're just starting to see him emerge a little bit more, and hopefully that continues. And I don't know that in the tournament there's been a better sort of power hitter down the ground just yet. Yeah. He's been so good, and you know, he stands tall, and when he hits the ball down the ground, he looks so good. I just enjoyed watching him tonight.
Yeah, references have been made to UV.
Yes,
I think that's a little flattering. I mean, UV's achieved big things, but there is that same swing that you see with. So I'm not comparing him to UV. I'm saying there's that similar swing.
Yeah.
But you know, Gautam, you remember that ad we had last time about the OGs, and you had Shri and Venka and Venki and Maninder and everybody. I just wonder tonight if Ambati Rayudu, Robin Uthappa, and Dinesh Karthik are sitting there and saying, the OGs are doing all right. They were all part of the 2004 Under-19 World Cup. And there's Shikhar Dhawan. They might call Shikhar up and say, let's get on a conference call. You know what, guys, we're not doing too badly still.
Yeah, it certainly was.
We're going to got Suresh Raina in too.
Pull him out of the com box and get him in there. But Harsha, I think I remember, since while Dooley was saying it, I remembered when I first saw Shivam Dube, I was doing commentary at the T20 Mumbai tournament, and it was great to see all these up-and-coming Mumbai players. You really saw why it was a nursery of cricket. Forget the days of the Gavaskars and the Vengsarkars. And suddenly there was all this talent coming through, and Aditya Tare was in the commentary box because he had hurt his finger. And he's the one who told me, look out for this guy. He resembles Yuvraj, but don't ask him that. Of course, me being me, went down for the post-match presentation. He was man of the match, and I said, you know, there's a little resemblance to UV. And he looked at me and goes, no, I don't know where you got that from. He walks like UV. He got that swagger. Except for his bowling, it was all there. Now he's consciously trying to move away from it.
Well, if he really wants to be UV, he'll work a little bit on his fielding. I mean, I don't want to be nitpicking. But today, I mean, he was. I mean, you look at Robin Uthappa, but the person who started it, and I think that is why his was the dominant performance, was Shivam Dube, and it's the third time he's done this.
Yeah, so, there you go.
I mean, that was it's not a one-off. Sometimes you've seen a one-off with Shivam Dube before, but this is now three innings out of 4 or 5, and he's the leading run scorer by far. So wish him well. Maybe the little ones brought him luck. Who knows? But wish him well.
And his first performance, remember, was in the same game where he had the most forgettable day out with the ball. It just shows you have two facets. 1 over for 25, you can put that behind you and come back with a performance like this.
That's
a lot of people would have been traumatized.
Yeah,
They did.
That's where they lost the game. They had that game covered that day.
They did, and that's probably the only close game of the 0-4 that they actually had. But one more, since you mentioned the OGs, one of the OGs who's now slowly starting to, I mean, travel agents are starting to see, are we even thinking of this name when we do our bookings for October? Harsha, he's done his chances, no harm again tonight.
No. Can you actually, here's something interesting. You must always, if you want to play a warm-up game, play the side you pick versus the others. And I'll tell you what, the others will form a really, really good side. I mean, obviously, you're looking Rishabh Pant for the future, Rishabh Pant to bat at number 4 or 5. But nobody in this tournament is finishing better than Dinesh Karthik is. We've seen Andre Russell do it once, and Russell is just pure muscle. He muscles it. Look at the range that Dinesh Karthik has to play his shots. And I get the feeling sometimes that the bowler's telling Dinesh Karthik where he's going to bowl because he's got so much time. I mean, this is, like he said to me at the presentation that day, he said, I wanted to give myself the best possible chance. And I told myself, you're not done yet. So he's gone and played in little league somewhere. He's changed his fitness routine. He's doing all kinds of things. I don't know. Dooley, I don't know. Can you? No.
The problem is, and I love what he's doing, and I love everything about what DK has to offer. But the reason you can't take him is because they've got a backup keeper in KL Rahul. All right, so
Correct.
if he's not going to finish, he's not going to take Hardik's place at 6, and he's not going to take Jadeja's place at 7. So because the only other skill he has is keeping, then he unfortunately doesn't fit into the team. And that's the sad thing about it. That's the sad reality. And I know he probably won't want that, but the bottom line is that is the sad reality of the T20 team at the end of the year. It is going to have Rishabh Pant in it, and it is going to have KL Rahul in it. And with that, they have their bases covered. They don't need a finisher who can't do anything with the ball.
Yeah.
And that is the problem that he's going to come up against with Hardik at 6. If Hardik's bowling as he is at the moment, and with Jadeja at 7, sadly there's no room because it just doesn't fit in. And that's,
I think Sanju Samson might throw his hat in the ring for
number
3,
exactly.
4
It's just the harsh reality of it. He could blow the tournament away, and I'm still not sure it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if stranger things have happened. All he needs to do is keep knocking on their door, opening it, pushing it down, do whatever. Once that door is open, at least to be in the squad, maybe they'll find a way to get him in there.
But I'll tell you one thing: when you're as old as DK is, right? We've seen over 35s have a great game, both Robin, DK. When you're as old as DK is, or you're as old as Robin is, but more especially DK, you have to believe. Because if you say, look, I've got no chance, I'll turn up and I'll have fun, you won't be producing performances like this. So deep down inside, if he does believe that he's got another tour in him, it's like a musician who believes he's got another world gig in him or her, and they keep playing, keep producing new albums. Well, you don't produce albums and records now anymore, do you? But whatever, you get the drift. You've got to believe, and I'm sure he believes, and that's why he's able to produce performances like these. I mean, when he's batting with 40 runs or 30 runs in the bank, if Jadeja is feeling relieved, what does it tell you about what they were thinking about DK?
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm not saying he's not going to an opportunity to play for England again, for India again. If you think about the end of the Test series in England this year, India are going to go to Ireland. They're not going to send a full strength side to Ireland. They've got so much cricket to play.
Send him as captain.
Yeah, he could go as captain. He could go to Ireland and captain an Indian side. So he's every chance of playing again in the right circumstances. But we were talking about a T20 World Cup where, look, he'll continue to put his hand up. He'll continue to ask questions, and he continues to impress. It's just a matter of, if you're thinking realistically, where does he fit? And if you can tell me where he fits in, I can sort of, I'll take your word for it. But I just don't know where he fits in when he doesn't bowl, and there's already another keeper there. I guess that's the only, that's my only sort of worry about it, I suppose.
Fair enough. We'll let the travel agents stew for a while. Right now. We don't need you. It's all right. Hang in there. But one more name we have to mention before we get off, and that's yet another talent unearthed in this game. May not have been on the winning side, may not exactly be pushing for a flight ticket yet, far from it. But Prabhu Desai, first with that fielding effort, and then showed he could hold his own with the bat, Harsha.
all those unusual 11s you're putting together, have you got another 11 of guys who just knocked the door and said, here I am, here's a here I am 11? And I think Suyash Prabhudesai is getting into it as well. What I liked about the 34 of 18, again, I've been using this expression a little too often, so I promise I won't use it too much more. It's no stage fright. They're coming into a big tournament, into a big run chase. He's coming with a domestic strike rate of 140. So clearly he knows what to do in those situations. But here you're playing CSK versus RCB, man. And you suddenly come and hit 34 of 18 in that run chase, as if you say, yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I mean, whoever heard of frantic young people from Goa? I mean, in Goa, you're supposed to have a nice, relax, all those old stereotypes, right? But here's a kid who's come out. And so we've got talent coming from Goa. We've got talent coming from Jammu and Kashmir. We've got, and I only mentioned this, we got a player yesterday from Rewa in Madhya Pradesh who bowled out. See where this talent is coming from. And that tells you that now there is no such thing as a state dominance. It's coming from everywhere.
And the net is now spread wider, and that's the one thing. I talked about it on commentary last night as well. With 10 teams, you wondered, would the talent be sort of spread a little thin? Well, what it's done is it's exposed more talent, and there is always going to be more talent because cricket is the be all and end all. If you want to play sport in India, cricket's your first choice, and then whatever it may be is your second and third choice, and that's kind of the reality of it. So the talent is just immense. It's everywhere. I mean, I was trying to think of names when you were mentioning that, Harsha, Anuj Rawat. I mean, you could name an 11 of Vaibhav Arora. You could name an 11, the young left-hander, or not so young left-hander from Mumbai that's turned things on.
Tilak Varma.
Yeah, Tilak Varma. There is talent everywhere in this country, and it will just come through. No longer will it all, or some of it, start to slip through the nets. It'll come through, and there'll be more and more of it. And it's amazing. I say it amazes me every year, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't amaze me because it's there, and I know it's there, and I see it every year. And time again, these young players or even guys at 23, 24, 25 who are finally getting an opportunity after banging the door down, whether it be in a Saeed Mushtaq Ali or even in a Tamil Nadu league or when the Karnataka league was going strong. There's just so much talent available, and it's brilliant to see it coming through.
Yeah, that's the 11th.
I already got a top 6, actually. I was thinking while Dooley was talking of a come look at me 11 with Anuj Rawat, Tilak Varma, Ayush Badoni, today Suyash Prabhudesai, even Shahbaz to some extent, though he's been around for a couple of years.
Sadran Ghani.
It's not just the batting. Sorry? Abhinav Manor, correct? Yeah, that was the other name. But typically, you would have seen this role being this place occupied by a batsman. But see what you've got. There's a Kuldeep Sen that's emerged. There's a Imran Malik that is definitely coming. There's a Vaibhav Arora who's coming. You're getting these spinners. Oh, so many. Make Rahul Tewatia the captain. He's been around too long.
Yeah. And of course, we do. I mean, Anuj Rawat does keep, even though he's not keeping for this side because of Karthik. So you've got your keeper sorted.
Yeah, but so many.
But to complete what Simon Doull was saying a moment ago about the 12 teams and talent spreading thin, even with all this, we could probably still make a very decent 11 that was actually not picked at the auction and still compete. So we won't start making that right now, but there are some serious names out there.
You have probably already made that. You keep bringing it up all the time. You've definitely made it.
Yeah, and I've probably put them all in my fantasy team, even though they're not playing, and that's why I don't get any points. But let's not go there. Let us instead.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. When we were kids, only because we used to have journalists from England coming making fun of us, we used to love to read them when England lost. Similarly, and I'm not saying the same degree of emotion, when you fall behind in a fantasy league game, Gautam, it is like, I mean, we just want to watch you. By the way, for all those of you who don't know, Gautam today lost to somebody who had picked 7 out of 11 players who didn't play. And nothing can be worse. He's not sleeping for the next 2 nights.
Okay, let's talk about where points actually counted. It's called the points table. It's got nothing to do with my team. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I set Harsha off. I'm sorry I did that. So there we go. Finally, we have only 1-0. Besides myself, we have only 1-0. That's Mumbai. They're going to be playing tomorrow. We'll talk about that shortly. But big relief for Chennai. Played 5, 1-1 finally. 2 points. And if they play like this, it's not going to last at 2 very long. Big logjam on 6, right from the top till Bangalore, who could have gone to 8 today, but their net run rate will have come down only by a little, thanks to the lower order, still plus 0.006. So that's the points table as we go ahead to the second team where questions are being asked. Another huge franchise, another multiple cup winner, and they are going to be up tomorrow. They're still based in Pune, and they're going to be playing Punjab Kings. This is match number 23. I know you don't necessarily look at other teams, Harsha, but will they take confidence from Chennai tonight?
Oh, there's shots are being fired here. Okay, I'll smoke the peace pipe. Gautam wins more fantasy league games than he loses.
That was not a shot. Okay. It was just a question.
I will tell you this though. If you had told me last year Punjab Kings are going to be one of the most watchable teams in this year's tournament, I would have said, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Because one of the things Punjab's never had is a sense of identity, other than in that year when they made the final, when they were playing a similar brand of cricket, actually. But they are such an exciting team to watch now that if you're playing against them, you've got to be really careful. You've got to stock your bowling, because look at the power in that side. Now, Johnny Bairstow, he's going to play an innings at some point. Mayank Agarwal is going to play an innings at some point. Here's another wicket keeper for your come look at me 11. What about Jitesh Sharma, who just comes in and plays like he belongs? Then Liam Livingstone, his last 2 innings, Liam Livingstone, he hit 108 meter 6, and then I think he missed it a 95 meter 6. So Punjab is a fabulous team to watch. I'm looking at Mumbai to say, I don't expect them to play that side again. They are not going to turn up with 2 overseas players, one of whom is Doull Gautam. So I think they need to look at that team again and just say, what's my best 11? Doesn't matter. I have to give chances to people. What's my best 11? And I think they need to put that best 11 out. Look, Timal Mills has done well in the past. I think at some point they've got to go back to Timal Mills, because you can't keep bowling badly. So they'll have to go back to Timal Mills. So they'll have to start picking that. And if they pick Tim Allen to play a role, then maybe they want to go to Tim David rather, not Tim Allen, Tim David. They need to go back to him as well, because right there in front of me I saw Fabian Allen and Tim David both together there. So that's my thought. What do you think, Dooley, about MI?
Yeah, I just think I want to get Fabian Allen into that side, Harsha. I don't quite understand how they can play with 2 overseas players. And I know Divock Brevis has got some real talent and potential. I just think that I don't know that we're going to see the best of him this year. So I'm with you on the Tim David thing. I think you got to get Tim David in there. Divock Brevis needs to probably sit out for mine. They're not bowling him, so he's not being used to his full potential at this point in time. I don't know that he's going to win you a whole lot of matches with the bat just yet. It's more of an experience thing for him. Get Tim David back in there. He can win you a game with the bat. Get Fabian Allen in there as well. Keep Kyron Pollard and bring Timal Mills back. And to me, I say it again. If you can't play more than 2 overseas players, you have got your option strategy completely wrong. You have really made a hash and a mess of your auction strategy if you walk out onto the park with 2 overseas players. So they've got the talent there. I just think they need to find that combination with their 4 overseas players: Timal Mills, Tim David, Fabian Allen, and Kyron Pollard. For me, are those 4 overseas players, and then find your Indian players around that. Murugan Ashwin, I've been impressed enough with him. Basil Thampi, Jasprit Bumrah, yes, absolutely. And then you've got your batters at the top. Sharma, Sky, Ishan Kishan, and Tilak Varma, and that's your side, and you run with it. Fabian Allen will offer you more than enough with the bat at the back end if he's going to come in at 7, and he's going to bowl you overs, and he's an absolute gun in the field.
I'll tell you what else is working for them is Pollard is giving them 2-3 overs most games. So between Fabian Allen and Kyron Pollard, you need 4 overs. They're perfectly capable of giving you 4 overs. And if you haven't seen, I'm looking directly into camera, speaking to people. If you haven't seen Fabian Allen field, wow, that he's something else in the field. So I quite like that team. So you've got 2 spinners, you've got 3 quicks, and you've got Pollard as the other option.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. I was 15 meters away on the boundary line when he took a catch that people still talk about at Fort Lauderdale in the CPL in 2017. Sort of announced himself, and they keep talking about it. And he's done it several times after that. But so plenty of options there. So I reckon the key for Mumbai, as the experts have said, is get your 11 right first, and then everything else will follow. Harsha, just to finish on that, which is a very different predicament from Chennai. Chennai were 0-4. They walked in with the same 11. They had other problems. Mumbai's is about getting the 11 right.
And I mean, I don't know what the thinking in their camp about this season is. I hope it is about saying, we are a storied side. We are going to come back and win the next four in a row. Whether it happens or no, you don't know, but that's got to be the approach. If that is the approach, I'm not sure about the two overseas players. I mean, if your approach is, we'll just build a side this year so that next year we are among the strongest, that's okay. But it's too early to be thinking like that just now. So I'm very happy with the four that Dooley has put out. Allen for Sams. It isn't working for Sams. That's okay. Maybe later on in the tournament, if the tracks grip a little bit, maybe his kind of bowling again. But otherwise, it just looks right to me that you've got very powerful hitting. You see, the teams that are winning have power hitters and they're bowling well. They've got enough bowling options. Mumbai's bowling options are touch limited this year. So you've got to bolster your power hitting. And if you've got Surya Kumar Yadav, Tim David, Kyron Pollard, Fabian Allen, then you're doing really well.
Yeah.
Well, if Mumbai have that problem, I reckon we've had a brief glimpse at the Punjab squad, and I don't think we've got anything to fix there, do we, gentlemen?
Look, I wonder whether Odin needs a rest. I think that's about the only thing. Look, it's tough on him. I mean, he'll be reliving that overthrow, that throw at the stumps. He'll be reliving those Tiwatia sixes. What are their options to come in there? Do they bring Benny Howell in, who is a brilliant exponent of change-ups? He's not as quick as Odin Smith. Certainly can bat, probably not the power of Odin Smith again, but I just think he might offer them a little bit more with the ball, and that's probably the one area that they feel could be slightly improved. I mean, we've seen one potential innings from Odin Smith, but that was back in game one, and outside of one innings with the ball, he hasn't quite delivered for them just yet. And I'm not saying he's done for the season, but maybe he just needs a couple of games off just to have a bit of fun at training and just rediscover a little bit, because I think the pressure got to him a little bit the other night, and it's a shame, because I really love what he's got to offer. He's got some work ons, and he needs some help, and he needs some coaching, but I just think he's got real potential. I'd rather maybe see Benny Howell come in for him in that game tomorrow, and that'd be the only change I'd make.
Yeah, I agree with what Simon's saying, but just put that squad up and see what happens. I mean, the option is to play Nathan Ellis as well, because I think he's a very good bowler too. But the moment you take out Odin Smith, assuming that their approach is go, 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 which is how they want to play this year, Mayank Agarwal, Shikhar Dhawan, Jitesh Sharma, Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingston, right? There's enough power there. This is where Shah Rukh Khan, Odin Smith comes in. Now, Shah Rukh Khan at 6, he still needs to be at his best. The power hitting is over suddenly. I think that is what they wanted from Odin Smith. But for that to happen, Odin Smith is a 2-over bowler at this stage. Who in the top 6 is giving you 2-3 over, is a 2-3 over bank? I don't know if Liam Livingston is that yet. And that is where I think structurally the issue is coming over there. They want to play Odin Smith because they like his power, but they're not getting his bowling. No. So it's a tricky one for him, for them, because otherwise at 7, you've either got Harpreet Brar, or you come back to Raj Bawa, or you just say, right, Kagiso Rabada at 7. It's okay. He bats 8 in a test match. He can bat number 7 here, and we just pick 5 bowlers.
Yep. I know, Dooley, you were saying you were looking at a Benny Howell as a possible replacement, but is this one of those cases? I know you said Mumbai, 4 overseas, got to happen. Is this one of those cases where you say, okay, maybe 3 overseas? Can we rest Odin Smith for somebody with a bit of experience in that lineup from India?
Yeah, or you can say Raj Bawa comes back in and we just give him an opportunity. If you want to go down that all-rounder and just keep that batting strength a little bit there. I know the way they want to play, and Harsh is absolutely right. And the reason they're playing that way is because their statistician has said that this is how you win 2020 tournaments, and he was with the Birmingham Phoenix, and this is his game plan. I mean, yes, the coaches are bought into it, the players are bought into it, but this is his game plan through and through. Birmingham Phoenix played exactly the same way. They've got their statistician on board, and this is exactly how they want to play. So if that's the way they're going, I've got no problem with it. It's exciting cricket, but you don't need guys who can bat at 7 and 8, because they're going to face very few deliveries anyway. And Rabada's shown more than capable more than capable. He was outscoring Odin Smith 2 games in a row. So there's no issue with Rabada batting 7 if they want to. And if they want to bring Raj Pawar in, or if they want to bring Harpreet Brar into that position or play Benny Howell, I really don't mind what they do. I just feel that perhaps Odin just needs a couple of games just to clear his head a little bit.
Yeah, he just looks like a brute, Harsha. I mean, he's one of those guys.
But you know what Doull is saying, because he got taken. He faltered at the end when Andre Russell went after him. Then Tewatia went after him. So if you want to play him, you're just playing 2 overs bowler, bowls in the middle till he gets his confidence back. You can't keep him as your death batsman and your death bowler. I don't think he's ready for that at this level of in this kind of tournament.
Yes, so it should be fascinating viewing. Mumbai desperate for the points. Punjab knowing that they're going to come out just like the way Chennai did today. And with Chennai, 2 points on the board. Mumbai hoping to change the fact that there's every team with at least 1 point. And that'll mean Punjab will not get to 6. And there'll be a nice little group on 4s and 2s. It'll set it up beautifully going into the middle of the coming week. Well, Chennai have answered the question.
Like an Andre Russell innings.
Yeah.
The points table looking like an Andre Russell innings.
Well, or a Livingston innings. Yeah, more topical at the moment. Yeah, well, Kolkata fans would love to think of Andre Russell playing a few more like that. But let's see if Punjab and Mumbai can produce that. Tim David's capable, just hasn't done it yet. First, he needs to get into the 11. What about our joy factor question for the day? Seems a long time ago that we asked it. It was technically yesterday. 18 men scored international centuries in all 3 formats of the game. I could not for the life of me, Harsha, think of who is the one to achieve it as captain.
I thought it might have been Brendan McCullum. But I wasn't
I'll give you a hint. It's from the subcontinent.
Okay. All right.
Babar Azam.
Yeah, well, Babar Azam, not Babar Azam. We've talked about some top quality players there. I wonder who it could be. If I was given a hint that it's subcontinent, does that necessarily mean it's India? No, it's not.
Oh, wow, there you go.
I tend not to think of him as an automatic captain, but Sri Lanka have probably made everybody captain at some point in time.
In those days, yeah.
So there you go.
What's Virat's highest T20 score? Virat hasn't got a T20 100, does he? I don't think so.
International?
Yeah, not T20 international.
Not a T20 international. No.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So there you go.
We must have Deepu watching this program and just sending in these numbers from time to time.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on
94. 94. Kohli.
There.
That's his highest score. Yeah. That's how easy it is to find results on the Cricbuzz app, folks.
Well done, Doull.
Just if you wanted to jump online, or Cricbuzz Plus, maybe you want to get on there and have a look at all the extra features that we've got available. But we're sitting here for 2 seconds, and I can tell you easily that 94 is Virat Kohli's highest score.
And once you swipe off that, Doull, and you just get onto Cricbuzz Plus, there's so much more on offer. More. Absolutely, we can have lots and lots of fun. It's not just the interviews and the extras that we're used to, but we've got some special content during this tournament. We already know about Match Party that's on. We know about Retro Reels that we've already talked about, and plenty of unique, insightful interviews that you can get onto Cricbuzz Plus. Subscribe and you can join the family. Well, that's all we have on this show. Oh, that's not all we have on this show. I'm being told very loudly, you haven't even congratulated the winner. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, I got carried away. Yes. Oh dear. Who was it who spotted TM Dilshan? And it's Sudeep Ghosh. Well done, Sudeep. It was not an easy one. We couldn't figure it out amongst ourselves. And I can tell you, some of our usual suspects who just get these answers in 5 seconds flat, they didn't get it either. So Sudeep, welcome to the family. We're going to remember all your names as we get to the end of the season. I can tell you that. And we won't forget that. Yeah, well, this time, I promise I've ticked off every item from the agenda. Thank you, Doull. Thank you, Harsha. And just about 7 minutes past midnight, we can look forward to game today. Coming to you from Pune, it's Mumbai against Punjab. We'll be there half an hour before the first ball is bowled on Cricbuzz Live. For now, it's good night.